Ladies, it is time for you to become the woman of your dreams. But that work starts right now. And so in this video, I'm going to give you 11 practical tips that you can use today in order to become the woman of your dreams. And I don't want you to be one of those ladies that you watch my YouTube video or you're watching other girls that are achieving their dreams. I want you to achieve your dreams too. And ladies, tip number 11 is going to put everything together. So make sure you stay to the end. So tip number 1, ladies, in order to become the woman of your dreams, you need to have radical self-love and acceptance of yourself, who you are right now and who you want to be. And I feel that when women step into this zone of really understanding everything about them, really understanding their flaws, you know, Beyonce talks about flaws and all, it's really important to acknowledge that and go on this journey of loving yourself. I think a lot of times what holds women back from becoming that girl is because they simply don't love themselves. And it's a hard conversation to have. It's really hard to look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't love myself. It's really hard. It's really, really difficult. I feel that you need to cultivate that. And it's a mixture of doing practical things such as meditations, mindfulness, affirmations. I talk about the power of affirmations all the time, literally waking up each day and saying, I love myself. This is who I am. This is who I'm becoming, affirming yourself. Then there's this other side of acceptance. And I'm going to talk about that more in depth in another tip because I feel like those things go together, which is your mental health and your acceptance. But you have to go on that journey, ladies. Like, you have to get comfortable with being alone. Sometimes, you know, because sometimes parts of this journey requires you to kind of isolate, you know, and sometimes you are studying for certain things. Sometimes it's going on a solo date. Sometimes it's even going as far as a solo trip and discovering something beautiful and new about yourself. I know for me, that's what I did. I'm very comfortable going on a solo date, even married. Even though I'm a married woman, I still go on solo dates. I still do things for me, right? Sometimes when I decline an invitation to be out and about, because I know I need to do things for me. So for example, I had a friend, I was like, hey, we're going to this beach. Do you want to come with us? Now, of course, I love a beach day, right? But at the end of the day, I know I have work to do so that I become that woman next year. Okay. So that is really what you have to do, is that self-love and acceptance. And I know if you set this foundation up, then the rest of the tips I'm going to give you is really going to put everything together. Number 2 is start to develop your hobbies and personal passions, right? So a woman who is full and living a beautiful life is a woman who has things outside of her career. And I feel like the biggest mistake you are doing is you are making yourself all about your career. Oh, I work at Google. I work at this company. I'm a lawyer. I do this. I do that. No, you are not. Okay? You are more than an attorney. You are more than a Googler. You are more than a nurse. You have things outside of that life, and it's very important you cultivate that. So whether it's as simple as cooking, maybe you're like, I'm a really good cook. I enjoy it. It calms me. Start taking cooking classes, right? Maybe you love wine. Actually take time to come. Maybe you love wine. Actually take time to become a sommelier, right? Where you understand the history of wine, you understand the bodies of wine, you understand the difference between red and white and where they come from. Like, take time to cultivate that passion. I know for me, even though I haven't been doing a good job of keeping up with it, is dancing, right? Because it's something I did as a child. I was a gymnast, I was a dancer, I was a competitive cheerleader. So it's still in my bones, you know? It's the one activity I do that I enjoy, I love. And so I find different dance classes, right? Sometimes I do a heel class. Sometimes I'm doing something with Afro beats. You know, sometimes it's like a simple jazz heel combination, whatever that looks like for you, but figure out what that is and develop it. Take time each week to really connect to it. And again, I feel like this is important for I think this is very important for a few reasons. Number 1, it just helps you again to become this full, beautiful woman. And especially if you're single now and you're on dates, you have something else to talk about besides, oh, I work at this company and this is what I do and this is where I was educated. So you actually have interesting things going on with your life. Like if you're on a date and you say, oh, I love to roller skate. you know? And I've been doing it for 3 years, and I'm now, I go to different roller skating tournaments, or I go to different parks and meet up with other people who roller skate. Like, that's interesting, right? Besides just, I'm an attorney. But I think the other thing is it helps you to develop your femininity, because when you're tapping into your creative side, right, and you're tapping into your creative expression through hobbies, you start to become this feminine, soft, beautiful woman. So this is really important as well. So number 3, ladies, is you need to start to prioritize your diet, right? Your physical well-being, as well as your mental health. And there's a reason why the both come together, right? So I feel that the body and the mind work together, right? And if you have a beautiful relationship with your body, how you see yourself, how you feel, and also your mental mind, it's a game changer. Okay, it is a game changer. You are that girl, right? Even if you focus on just this alone, like maybe you say, look, all these other tips, I don't know, it's going to be difficult. But if you can do tip number 3, it's really going to get you all the way together. And I know it's something I'm consistently developing, right? I'm consistently trying to connect my mind and body and have it working together, right? So I think number 1, ladies, is figure out what is nutritious to you and take it to the next level. Okay. So for me, I did actually a blood test to figure out, and I also went down to my DNA to figure out the foods that are good for me and the foods that are bad for me. What was interesting about this test was I found out, I'm actually lactose intolerant. I love cream, right? I love cheese, but I really shouldn't be eating it, right? And I didn't know, because I didn't have the typical reaction to being lactose intolerant, but I didn't realize until I took that test. I also found out that grilled meats are not good for me. So I'll put a link below of where you can do that test. But however you want to do it, maybe it's talking to nutrition, maybe it's just intuitive eating, and you start to just monitor a little bit more closely what you're eating and what you feel good and what your stomach is like, that doesn't really go well with me. But figure out what that looks like for you. And then again, pair this with a physical activity. Ladies, the thing is, I think a lot of people push, you gotta be in CrossFit, you gotta lift weights, and all those things are good, right? And I do think you should have some type of muscle resistance in your physical workout, but also, ladies, walking. When I was my thinnest, okay, and this was around COVID, interestingly enough, I was walking every day because literally I did not have access to the gyms. And sometimes I would dance in my room, or I would do like an online workout, but I really enjoyed walking because, again, it gave me mental clarity. So it was doing 2 things at once. I'm working on my body, but I was also clearing my mind, right? And I was my thinnest just walking like 4 or 5 miles a day. My body was on point, right? And I'm even getting back onto that journey because now I'm doing cycling, I'm doing weightlifting. So I'm doing a couple of things to get me fully tight again. But physical is so important, and it doesn't have to be too much. Sometimes it's just yoga. Sometimes it's Pilates. And there's no excuse, ladies. There's no excuse. There's lots of apps. There's tons of apps that are for free. There's YouTube. I believe Fitness Blender is still out there, right? They're literally creating 45-minute free workout routines. There's no excuse. There's no excuse not to get yourself together. Find 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day to do some type of physical activity, and then pair it with nutrition. And also, here's a pro tip. You can also use ChatGPT, or I use Claude AI, to actually come up with a meal plan for you. So literally you can put in, these are the foods I want to eat, these are the foods I want to avoid, create a meal plan for me, and it will do it, right? The other thing is your mental health. You have to prioritize your mental well-being. Pay attention to the energies around you. Pay attention to people who are draining you. Pay attention to your work environment. Is it toxic? Pay attention to a relationship. Is that relationship toxic? I'm just there because I just want to say I have a man. Whatever it is, you need to prioritize how you're feeling and what you're thinking, right? And also, ladies, I really implore you to take time to connect to a therapist. Someone who's going to help you connect to your mind in a deeper way. It's so, so important, ladies, to do this. I know for me, I have a therapist that I'm off and on with. I'm probably going to get back on because I'm realizing there's other parts of my life that I now need more mental clarity around. And also, if you're like, I can't afford a therapist, also a coach is a good way to start because they can help you with some mental exercises, but make sure to do the mind and body connection. Number 4 is to do some type of study, education, and create the habit to be a lifelong learner. Ladies, you can't be one of those people that said, well, I went to college or I went to high school, I got my master's, that's it. I feel that a woman who is becoming the woman of her dreams is always learning. She has a outlook to life as, I am a lifelong learner. I'm always educating myself. I'm always learning new skills. I'm always becoming better and better. I'm evolving, right? And so this looks like many different things. Maybe it's as simple as, I want to learn a new language. I know that's a very popular one among people, especially when you start to travel, you start to see the benefits of knowing French and English and all the things, right? So that could be one element of it. But also it could just be, maybe you're trying to start a new business. Maybe it's even a hobby and you just want to get better at it, right? Whatever that thing is, take time to start to educate yourself. So here's what I'm doing, just so you have some examples. So I applied to the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women program, and it's helping me educate myself on my business for free, right? It is a 6-week program and I'm getting all the free educations. I'm getting a business advisor. It is amazing, right? And I am literally studying again the fundamentals of business, right? So that's something I'm doing. I think another way to become a lifelong learner, if you're like, look, I don't got the money now because I'm on the way. I'm on the way to become the woman of my dreams, then it's just to use YouTube. I'm on YouTube every day, y'all. Every day I'm on YouTube. And if you actually watch my watch history, it is like 90% education. A little bit of, jokes and kicks and giggles and pop the balloon and some of these other guilty pleasures. But 90% of my watch list is actually educating myself, right? And it's funny because me and my husband obviously share a premium YouTube account, and he's also always educating himself. So literally it's either like AI, right? Or how to grow a YouTube channel, right? It's like one of the others. But what I love about YouTube is there's a lot of people who are really experts in their field and they're giving you the keys for free. So again, this is another part of your lifelong learning, and there's no excuse because like I said before, you can get it free, you could pay for a coach, you could pay for a course, but whatever it looks like, figure out new skills you want to develop and actually pursue it through education. Okay, ladies, so number 5 is effective communication. A woman who is just glowing and graceful and just has this way about her is a woman who has a command on her communication. She's very clear. She's very thoughtful, right? And so there's a couple of things I want you to think about right here. So number 1, I believe an effective communicator is very clear on what they're saying, right? And you're not in a rush, right? This is, again, tying it back to femininity. Femininity is about taking your time. So you're very clear on the words you use. You're very specific, right? You don't just blah, blah. You don't do that. You actually take your time, and sometimes you even reflect, like, what do I want to say? What do I want to communicate? A lot of times when I'm about to step into a meeting, or maybe I have to have a hard conversation with a friend, or maybe I need to have a conversation with my husband, I try my best to reflect on what do I want to say and what do I want to be communicated? Because those are two things, right? Something you're saying, but there's also what do I want the person to understand? So really take time to think through your words and think through what you want to communicate, how you want to communicate, right? And that is very clear. But then the other part of effective communication is an active listener. And this is hard for some of y'all. Some of you ladies don't want to hear what someone has to say. Sometimes you just want to jump in. An active listener is not having a conversation with someone and already premeditating, oh, this is what I'm going to tell them, or this is how I'm going to respond, or this is what I want to say, right? You're literally absorbing what someone wants to tell you. And what I love about this, ladies, with effective communication is that when you start to really step into this, you're going to see people react to you better. And there's a cheat code. When you become an active listener, people become more vulnerable with you. They open up to you. They share things with you. They share things with you that they may have not shared with anyone else, right? Because they feel comfortable with you. There's a way you're just listening to them, absorbing them, like, oh, I can talk more to this person. So that is really key with effective communication. So again, like I said, Number one, you're thinking through what you're saying, you're thinking through how you want to communicate, and you are also taking time to become an active listener, right? You're doing this, you're leaning back, you're listening to what they're saying, and you're not just like, oh, let me come in there and tell you what I gotta say. Okay, ladies, so tip number 6 is understanding emotional intelligence. Now, this goes in 2 ways, right? So number 1, it's your own, being able to manage your emotions and understand your emotions, right? And another thing that I want to always tie this back to, because I believe that femininity and emotions is hand in hand, is that again, you are taking time to process your emotions. Because a lot of times when we hear interesting news, sad news, crazy news, whatever that is, or just information, a lot of times our emotions are like on a high and they're like, whoa, and they're like all over the place, right? And then you want to sometimes you want to immediately react. That's not the best approach. So managing your emotions that's now turning into someone who's emotionally intelligent is, again, taking time to process. Like, how do I actually feel? A lot of y'all don't ask yourself that. A lot of times you're thinking. You don't ask, how do I feel? How do I actually feel about this? Like, let me sit with it. Like, what is it? How am I marinating this, you know? And when you do that, and then you get all the way through the roller coaster, and then you go to the woo, you come out. Then you're like, oh, okay. Now I know how I feel. I can move. You know, so that's how you want to move. You want to start to really manage your emotions as well. And part of managing is waiting for the roller coaster. You don't just act out. You know, I think what I pride myself off of is that no one's like, oh, Chica just comes out left field. Chica just, you know, Chica is graceful. You know, when I'm speaking calmly. I'm not raising my voice at anyone. I can't think of the last time I've raised my voice. I can't think of it because I don't move that way. I allow my emotions to process. I manage my emotions and I move accordingly. Then the other part of becoming emotionally intelligent is also how you connect to other humans, right? So number 1, having empathy for people. And, you know, I'm 36, so I'm at the age where I've seen a lot of things. Okay, I'm still seeing, but I've seen a lot. And I've realized a lot of times when, you know, I might be having a challenge with someone, or, you know, the times I was at work and I was like, what's going on with this passive aggressiveness? You know, if you work in corporate, you know what that means. And when I reflect back on it, a lot of times these people were having their own personal problems and it rolled into work. It rolled into your relationship. It rolled into your friendship. And so a lot of times I try to have empathy for someone. Now, of course, having empathy, you still need to have boundaries, right? So you can have empathy for a friend and still enforce your boundaries. But I think in general, I'm a lot more aware that people are dealing with things. Life can life. People are having different challenges and it's not always personal, right? So that's one element of how I try to have empathy for others. But then also relationship building, right? Taking time to really connect to humans. You know, the other day I was watching a TikTok video and I said, you know, I need to do this more because sometimes like I'll be in an Uber or I'm in a coffee shop and I'm not trying to talk to anybody because I'm just trying to get to where I'm going to. But at the end of the day, we are humans, we're social. And one thing this lady was saying on TikTok was taking time to connect to everybody, right? Taking time to say, hello, how are you? What's going on? How's your day? I know for me, recently when I did that, I walked into a situation where I greeted everybody, right? Again, relationship building. And I said, hello. And I, you know, was like, oh, how is everything? And I noticed they were much more warmer and nicer to me. And when I came back with a request, because I was like, oh, I need to see the founder of this company. They're like, oh, yeah, sure. I feel like if I had came in there, okay, I'm registering, thank you, and I kept it pushing, they might have been like, okay, like, no, the founder's not here. So it's really important that you also take time to do relationship building and understand humans are social and they like to connect. So tip number 7 is, I think an obvious tip, but you'll be shocked so many people don't do this, is set personal goals, right? And take time to do this. Now, I think there's so many different ways to do that. And I think this is a whole nother video of how you go about setting goals. And if you want to know how to do it, make sure to leave a comment, right? And I can create a whole new video about that. But you need to take time to set your goals. And personally for me, I like to do it every quarter. I think just because I know the world is fast paced, it's constantly changing, and things that even I didn't expect, sometimes great things, like things I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even account for this, start to happen, right? And so I feel like a quarter kind of gives you enough time. Like I feel like a quarter, so every 90 days, you're kind of like reassessing what's going on, what's happening, what do I need to change, what do I need to adjust? And again, there's so many different ways you can set goals. I'm more of a visual person, so I get into more of the details and writing down specific tasks and things with my day-to-day. But for me, I'm actually more of the person that creates like vision boards. So I actually create pictures, I put them on Pinterest, I cut them out, I create a physical one, and kind of just have a general, like, this is how I want things to happen. This is how I want things to unfold for me. These are the type of goals I want to achieve, right? So for me, visual works and visualization works, right? And I do that also through mindfulness and dreaming and meditating and all the things. But some people are like, I need to write them down. Like, okay, over the next 90 days, I need to achieve this. And also you can use AI. I love AI because literally you can write into ChatGPT and say, these are the goals I want to achieve to myself. Help me come up with a 90-day plan. What does that look like? How does that person unfold? What type of routines are needed to achieve those goals? And it will help you become accountable. I know I recently did this because I basically am like, okay, I need to create 2 YouTubes a week. I need to post on Instagram and TikTok. I need to update my LTK. I need to do my Pinterest. Ooh, I even need to add that as well. Like I have all these things I need to do, and I need to like figure these things out so I achieve my goal. And literally I wrote it all down in my AI, and then it came back to me with a schedule down to personal time here, dinner here, wake up in the morning, do this. Like it literally created a schedule based on me. So I feel like these days now more than ever, because of AI, it can help. It can help you think through your goals, right? And also if you're like, oh, I'm more of a visual, you can create the vision board. And then when you now need to get into the nitty gritty, because I do think a lot of times people don't achieve their goals because they don't get into the details of the goals. Like, how do I do this? Like, how do I break this down practically, right? How do I come up with the steps to do that? All that needs to be done through, I believe you can use AI, or you can also hand write it as well. You can get a journal, you can write it down, but just create some system in order to keep accountable of the goals you have this year. Number 8 is I want you to start to embrace your uniqueness. What is your secret sauce? What makes you you? I'm saying this, ladies, because again, this may be obvious, but you'll be shocked that there's too much sameness. I think because of TikTok and Instagram and just social media in general, there's a lot of people all trying to become the same thing, right? They see certain girls, they see certain it girls, and they're like, okay, well, if I look like this, if I dress like this, if I do it this way, all of a sudden I'm going to become that girl. No. Becoming that girl, becoming the woman of your dreams is actually embracing you, like embracing what makes you special, embracing just like everything about you that you know nobody else can do. And I know for me, it took me a while to get there, right? Because I feel like I was discovering myself. I was trying to figure things out. And I started to pay attention. I think you should do this as well, is what are things people consistently saying about me? And that tells me that that stands out for me. So for example, people are like, you always smell good. You know, right? And I just have this unique way of blending different fragrances together. I'm a niche fragrance girl. I do not buy anything commercial. Everything I get is like some small fragrance company somewhere, right? And people love it. But it's interesting because, like I said before, I had a friend who was like, oh my God, what is that scent? And we went to the same exact store and I bought the same scent for her. And she put it on, she's like, oh, it doesn't smell good on me. It smells good on you, it doesn't smell good on me. So it even tells you how, like, even as simple as a fragrance is unique to you because it's layering onto your own pheromones, right? I think another thing that makes me unique is I tend to wear mostly African designers, specifically Nigerian. And I know for me as a content creator, I probably should be wearing other brands, right? So I can link them and all the things and make money off of it. But you know what? I love my Nigerian brands. I'm wearing one right now. Okay, I lean into it. And it's funny because walking into the room, people recognize me for that. People love that about me. So I think you need to figure out what that is, right? Whether it's the way you do your makeup, whether it's how you dress, maybe it's how you speak, maybe it's how you come up, whatever it is. But actually really reflect on, like, what is something that people consistently say about me, and then lean into it, right? Make it a thing, make it a statement. And I believe when you do this, I personally feel like you're also going to start to become more confident. You're going to come into the room, you're going to command the room, and people are going to be able to really speak to you being that girl because of your own uniqueness. Number 9, and caveat, I am not a financial expert, so I have to say it, okay? But I do believe that you do need to take time to understand what does finances look like for you, and creating financial literacy, right? And if you don't know how to do it, if it's not something you could do on your own, I really implore you to work with a coach or get an advisor. Again, getting an advisor, I think you need to do your research. Also, potentially, if you do get an advisor, most likely you need to be at a certain income bracket for it to make sense, because advisor dues take commission. So if you don't make a certain amount, it may not make sense for you to do it. Again, the beauty of YouTube and Reddit in particular is there's so much education around financial literacy, how to budget, how to do it properly, what does it look like, and really understanding credit card system, all the things. That's what I really love about YouTube and Reddit. There's all this free education. And I know for me, I also had a financial coach at one time. She was an expert. We spent 6 weeks together really going through everything. And I think everything, even down to like, what are my financial fears? What are my first initial lessons of finance? What is my mom and dad's view on finance? How did it impact me? Like really going down to the level, because I think one part of finance is mental, right? I think the physical aspect is the actions you take, but a lot of times your actions or inactions are happening because of a mental block or mentally how you view finances. And I think a lot of times you want to become that woman of that. And I think a lot of times, if you want to become the woman of your dreams and you are an abundant woman, you're not going to have fear around money. You're going to embrace it. You're going to engage it. This is things I'm personally still doing, right? I'm still getting more and more comfortable with money, especially because I'm making more, right? Which is great. I feel like as I get older, I'm making more money. More money is coming to me. And I generally believe in abundance, that it's happening. It's flowing through me. But I have to get a control in it, because I never want to live paycheck to paycheck again. And in order to step into that new part of you, that new era of you, you got to do the literacy. You got to do the work of educating yourself around your own finances. 10 is to practice kindness and compassion. Ladies, do a self-reflection. Are you a rude person? Are you always a sitting, resting face? You know, you always like this. There's no smile. There's no kindness. There's no warmth. Ladies, women who are feminine and truly, I feel, are like ethereal women that people aspire to be, they're warm, they're kind. Again, this is something I pride myself off of. I know I'm kind. I know I'm warm. I know I'm giving, because I know when I give, now, of course, I don't give to the point where I'm tired. Okay, that's a whole nother thing, is making sure you always have boundaries. I'm going to keep talking about it and emphasizing this, but I'm giving to the point of I give what I know I have, and I give what I can give freely, right? And I do this because I simply believe in abundance. I feel it's reciprocal. As I give, people give to me, right? And it takes nothing to be kind. It takes nothing to be kind, ladies. It takes nothing to be warm. It takes nothing to say thank you. It takes nothing to be polite, you know, and do it to everybody. It doesn't matter if the person's the janitor on the street. It doesn't matter. Be kind, be warm. And I'm saying this because I know for me, it's something that it's so easy to like not do, you know, like sometimes, and I'm saying this not even from your friends and family members, because I think that's an easy and simple one. But I think sometimes, you know, as you're going around the world, you're just like, oh, whatever, you know, matter of fact. No, be kind to every single person, because you never know how you touch them. You never know how that kindness does something for them. You know, you never know how that smile does something for them. And the other part about kindness is be kind to yourself. Have compassion to yourself. You know, you're watching this video and you might be harsh. You might be like, damn, I'm far away from becoming the woman of their dreams. No, you're right there. You're at the level where you're about to ascend to the next level. You're just right there. So you need to have compassion for yourself. You need to be kind to yourself. You need to be graceful. You need to know, you know, these things take time. I have to be patient. Not everything's going to come right to me, right? But you're on time because you're watching this video. Right? So also having kindness to yourself. And again, you can do this through affirmations. You know, I literally have affirmations sometimes where I'm listening to just like affirm who I am and being okay with myself and accepting. Because remember, the first thing we talked about was self-love and acceptance. So see how all these tips tie in together, right? And so that is another key thing, is being kind and compassionate to others and to yourself. Okay, ladies, so tip number 11, and I think it's the most important tip because, again, we are humans, right? And it goes a level deeper because I think as women, right, we need this more than ever, is having a supportive network, right? Figuring out that group of people that's going to help you ascend to become the woman of your dreams. And you can do this in a couple of ways. Number one, have accountability partners. I know for me as a content creator, this was something I decided to do later in life, right? I didn't do this in my 20s where like I grew up with a bunch of girls who were like on that way too. So I literally had to seek community. I had to, sometimes I paid for a membership to be among other women. I know I paid to be in a business mastermind, to be around other women who are entrepreneurs, but that was my way of creating a network of women who are like me, who are on the same journey as me. And I think it's so important you have someone you can call and say, girl, I'm trying to figure this out, or what do you think, or I need to run this by you. You need those type of women, right? So I think you need that type of women specifically in your circle of your business or your career, right? It's also maybe looking into mentors. And again, I think this is a whole nother video of how to get a mentor, but I do think it's important you get a mentor and a sponsor, because those are two different things. A mentor is someone who helps you and nudge you around the way, helps you keep yourself accountable. A sponsor literally puts you in the room, make sure you are part of the conversation, right? So I think that's so important. But I think also you need a network for two other parts of your life. So obviously personal, right? You need the group of friends that you can connect with. And I think as women, because I've been seeing a lot lately on threads, women, we need other women in our lives. It's not cute, it's not cool to be alone. I see women literally like, oh, I don't got friends, I don't need friends. No, even if it's just one girl, one friend, you need that. You need people you can kiki with and laugh. Like yesterday, I was with my girls and we went to a wedding. And funny enough, I went to the wedding with my husband as well, right? But then at some point, my husband wanted to be with the boys. So I left with my girls, right? Because again, I have no problem doing this. And we were at a restaurant till 2 a.m. and we were just laughing and just having fun and smiling, right? And like, you need that, because I felt good. And I was like, oh, my girls, I felt so good. And I left, you know, you need those rush of endorphins. So make sure you are cultivating women around you. And again, I can create a whole nother video around friendship, because I think that's quite layered, especially for women. I think the last set of supportive network that you need is all these different areas of your life, right? So I feel that as you start to ascend, and this may not apply to you now, but it's things you need to think about in the future. I think you may need a business advisor, right? If you have a business or a career, right? Maybe someone who's coaching you to ascend to the next level, like that person that is going to keep you accountable. You may need a financial advisor or an accountant. I talked about this in the other tip around financial literacy. You may need a lawyer, right? Because there's different parts of your life that are happening. You even may need someone who's going to help you with investments, right? But just having these different support systems in all facets of your life, it's so important. And ladies, like, don't get overwhelmed. Like, some of you may be like, oh, this is a lot of different people. Like, take it step by step. Maybe it's just a friend that you call and you're like, hey, I'm on my journey to become the woman of my dreams. Help me keep myself accountable, right? Maybe we'll do a check-in weekly or bi-weekly. Like, take it step by step. Don't feel like I need to do everything at once. But I think it's so important that you start to cultivate the circle around you that's going to help you achieve the next level in life. Okay, ladies, so those are all 11 tips. It was a lot. My throat is like, wow, you were chatting up today. But if you're loving my videos and this is your jam, make sure you subscribe, like this specific video, and comment, because I love the comments. I love what you guys say and what you're learning and the key lessons you got from the video. So make sure you comment in the video. And of course, throughout this video, you probably saw little links of feminine energy education, so you can always go back to the video and click the link, because I'm educating you ladies. This is one of so many videos around femininity and becoming a woman of your dreams and leveling up. It's so important. And also click this video here and I talk about feminine education. This is a playlist. You can always go back and play the different videos. But ladies, I actually have to go. Okay, so I just wanted to sit down for a little bit and connect and chit chat with y'all. But you will see me in my next video.